All right, thank you all for being back here and being on time, and you're fully engaged? Awesome, thank you again, I appreciate it. So, we're going to continue this Leadership Excellence series, and this time we're going to talk about a topic that is probably dominating so many conversations now, not only in our organizations, but our national conversation about biases and prejudices and disconnects, and even people feeling disengaged because of conversations, insults, offenses, things that are being said and things that are being done, and people not understanding why. I mean, we're seeing it happen not only in certain age groups, we're seeing it happen across religious groups, political groups, across genders. So this is a conversation that everybody can have. It's an inclusive conversation. So let me start by giving you a few of the things that I want to make sure we cover, because this is a full day session that I'm going to get it down to less than 2 hours. So I'm going to talk fast. Y'all just got to listen fast and take some notes. Now, I know that you don't have all of the slides, and that's intentional. My style is, one, I have a whole lot of slides to go through in a short period of time. I got through all those slides last session, didn't I? Got through all of them. And you know my style is engaging and interactive, while I also share strategies and data and statistics and studies. But also for this one is going to be a more personal, self-reflective, because the last one I was talking about organizational culture. And yeah, I hit on your role for helping to effectuate cultural change. But when we talk about biases, this is personal. So this is not about pointing fingers, because everybody has biases. The question is, which one is yours? Or let me correct that. Which are yours? Because there's a lot of them, there's not just one. So I want to cover what are some of the changing global workforce trends, particularly as it relates to demographic. And I call them demographic disruptions, because these things are disrupting the workforce, the workplace, and they're also disrupting the way that we work. So I'm going to hit on some of those because of all of those demographic shifts and all that diversity that's happening at a fast pace and over the next 10 to 15 years in the workforce, they're impacting the way that we work together. So I'm going to cover that, and I'm going to talk a bit about what is unconscious bias and how does that play out in the workplace every day, and then I'll close it out with some strategies on how we can manage it, not eliminate it, because you can't. Okay, so let's talk about that. Now, as we look at the global workforce, this is one of my signature slides I love to use when I'm talking about an era of disruption, when I'm talking about demographic shifts, and I'm talking about diversity in the workforce. So we're living in this era of disruption, and what did I say a VUCA world meant last class? A world of, what's the V? Volatility. World of uncertainty. The C is complexity. And the A is ambiguity. Don't y'all hear that a lot in your workplaces and the conversations that we're having, particularly as business leaders? Yes, we're living in a VUCA world. And we're living in a world where now it's much more globalized. We're living in a world where if you don't innovate as a company, you die. But I also submit that not only does your company need to innovate, you do too. We need to go through our own personal transformation. We need to go through our own personal reinvention. So with that, tomorrow, as I talk about leadership excellence, we're going to be doing a session tomorrow called How to Master Your Own Reinvention. Right? How to go through your own personal change, transformation. Yes, ma'am. VUCA stands for a world of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Thank you for asking. No problem. So if we don't innovate, we die. But in this world, we talked about how important it is for companies and organizations to remain flexible, agile, nimble, that when the world changes, the marketplace changes, needs change, expectations change, your customers, your clients change, and your talent changes, the company has to be able to respond and be able to be nimble to shift as well. And then as we talk about technology, technology is changing at the speed of light. Do you guys recognize that less than 15 years ago, there was no such thing as the World Wide Web? And now we can't live without our smart devices. We Google everything. We Wikipedia everything. We're on social media, and that's the way we connect and collaborate and even compete, according to Thomas Friedman, who wrote the book, The World is Flat. That the world is flat because we can talk to people, build relationships, and have connections all around the world with people we've never met before. But now we're able to crowdsource information and crowdsource data and crowdsource ideas. And the younger generation does a lot of that, right? While we're trying to have all these meetings, right? Meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. The young folk put it out there, hashtag what's the issue? And they hashtag the issue. And they get about 1,000 requests. So they done a whole poll. And y'all meeting 10 times that's why they don't like meetings anymore. Because y'all know when you meet, you leave the meeting and then you go have another meeting. And most of the meetings are so unproductive, you don't come out with real answers and real commitments to do anything. Because you're going to talk about it, so you'll schedule another meeting. So in this world now where technology is changing the way that we communicate and collaborate, we as organizations have to do the same. So we also talk about change and complexity and competition. This is what Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's. Accelerated change, increased complexity, overwhelming competition. We have to constantly be doing these 3 things. So as we look at how the world has changed, it's become more global, it's become more multicultural, it's become more multi-ethnic, it's become more virtual, more mobile. We look at how the workplace definition of diversity has changed. It's not just limited to race and gender like it started out over 50, 60 years ago. Yeah, we still got a long way to go as it relates to race and gender, don't we? Absolutely, amen. But diversity in today's workplace is broadly defined. And if you're still having it defined as just race and gender, shame on you. It's too limited, very narrow focus, and you will not have a culture change. So you got to look at diversity in its broadest sense. As you look at the top, which is the 10%, what do you notice? Things you can see. Good. Because what scientists say about an iceberg, which is what this is that an iceberg has only 10% of what you can see and 90% are below the waterline of what you can't see. So I love to talk about diversity from this graphic of an iceberg, from the analogy of what scientists say makes up an iceberg, because 90% of what makes us diverse and different and unique are the things we don't even see. So when you look at me, what do you see? Besides a beautiful woman, what else do you see? What else y'all see? No, I'm kidding. What else? No, I'm not really. What do y'all see? You see an African American, or you see a woman of color. You may not know if I'm African American or black. There's a difference, right? Because I may not have been born in America. So we have to be sensitive to that. So yes, you do see a woman, you see a person of color. What else do you see? You see what? You see it? The red. Interesting. She sees me with the red jacket on. Someone said they see me as short, petite, right? And what you miss, you see a woman that's 25. Y'all missed that. Okay. So yes, you see the physical attributes. Someone said they see confidence because you see it in a way that is displayed through body language, right? But if you just saw me walking down the street, you may assume I have confidence just by the way I carry myself, but that doesn't always mean I'm confident. It means I carry myself that way. No more than if you look like $1 million, it means you got $1 million in the bank. Quite contraire, I coach a whole lot of people who want to go through financial management coaching because they drive up with a BMW, got a Coach purse, got on their Burberry suit, got $50 in the bank. So that doesn't mean anything. So beware of what we see on the outside. Problem is, when we're talking about diversity, we oftentimes make our decisions, our perceptions, our judgments, our assumptions, our assessments come from the 10%. How shallow, but how human. It's human nature for us to do that. But look at the 90% of what you don't know about me. You don't know if I'm a mother. You don't know if I'm married. You don't know what my religious beliefs are. You don't know what my political affiliation is. You don't know what my interests, my hobbies, whether I served in the military, where I love to go on vacation. You don't know all those things. So what does it mean then? What do you have to do in order to get to know those things? Interaction. Talk to me. Build relationships. And we oftentimes make hiring decisions based on the 10%. We make buy-in decisions based on the 10%. We decide who we like or don't like based on the 10%.